Okay, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have a very cool episode for you. It is more, I guess it's kind of an initial thoughts and kind of basic specs, and also covering some of the packaging for this particular piece from Brellum watches. Now, this is going to be a multi-part review because I think this piece is just it just warrants it. I have a lot to say about this, and I think it definitely offers a lot to the buyer. And it's a really special piece for me and definitely for the channel. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's start off. As you can see, this is not a true unboxing because of course I've already been wearing this watch for a while, but I did want to kind of present that for those of you that do care, just kind of in a brief overview to see kind of what you get when you purchase a Brellum Duobox. Now, the box here is very nice. There's actually an outer cardboard box too that it comes in, but I figured let's just get to the meat and potatoes here. As you can see, really nicely done. Great piece here. It actually came with an extra strap, which we can take a closer look at later. Of course, a strap changing tool, and then inside you can see there are some pockets there. So we have the warranty card, my COSC papers, and these are real papers here versus one of those ones that you've probably seen earlier on the channel from some in-house tuning where they do some adjustments and they kind of make it look like the same documents you'd find for a COSC certified watch. This one actually has them, so that's really cool. And then we also have a really nice little postcard in here. If my gloves will let me pull it out. Very nice. And then of course a handwritten postcard, which is really cool, from the owner. So I think that's really nice. And as you can see, it even also of course is marked right there on the inside. So really cool. I just think that it just really gives you that premium feeling there, and definitely gives kind of a touch of luxury to the purchase. And it's definitely a nice and serious timepiece. So as you can see, what comes inside here is actually a very useful case, which I've been using to store my Duobox. It's a travel case here, and then it comes with its own branded microfiber cloth there, and then of course it does have the protectant there, but I actually haven't used that because I have tons of microfiber cloths already. And let's get into this really beautiful, gorgeous watch I've had my eye on forever now. So this thing is just I mean, wow. That's all I have to say. I mean, there's going to be a more in-depth review, but just I guess we can kick off a little bit about the brand. Why don't I get it a little bit closer here and tell you guys a little bit about Brellum. So Brellum was founded in 2015 by Sebastien Muller. He's basically a fourth generation watchmaker. His family's been making watches dating back to 1885. And he has over 25 years of personal experience in the Swiss watchmaking industry. Brellum watches, of course, are Swiss made, and kind of their mission statement is that they're an independent Swiss brand, and they develop, produce, and market high quality timepieces for people who admire exceptional craftsmanship. And I mean, the fit and finish on this is just insane. It just blows kind of everything in this price range out of the water by far. You'll see finishing at this level. I think, normally, I mean, if you're getting a great deal, maybe you'll see it in the $5,000, $6,000 range. I mean, those are smoking deals, probably gray market. You're not going to see this with an MSRP any less than $5,000-$6,000, something that has comparable finishing to what you're going to see here. So definitely very nice. Let's go ahead and pull it out here and just kind of give you guys a sneak peek at some of the basics here. You see, nice deploying clasp. of course, nice perlage there. As you can see, it does have some wear marks because I have been wearing it. Beautiful, beautiful movement there. I don't know if we're able to capture just how smoking hot the finishings are on this, but I mean, this thing is just fine-tuned. One of the great features is, as you can see, it has box dome sapphires on the front and the rear, so hence the name Duobox. Just a beautiful sandwich, and I know, you know, some of you are probably looking at this thinking, oh man, that thing is just too tall. It really isn't. You know, don't let the specs fool you. It's one of those things that you just kind of have to experience and get it on the wrist, and you realize that so much of it just melts away on the wrist, and it just feels great, and it wears smaller. So let me get it close here so you guys can see some of those details on the dial. Of course, let me make sure it's dusted off while we talk a little bit more about this piece. So of course, this is a chronograph watch. Some key characteristics and design language with a chronograph, you know, you're gonna have those external pushers that activate timing functions. You know, there are gonna be multiple subdials, basically to measure elapsed time, you know, often featuring, you know, different types of scales depending on the subgenre. This one in particular has a pulsation scale, so you can take someone's pulse with it. I don't know how to use a pulsation scale, so I'll probably never use it, but this is probably one of the more useful things because it's not like I need to calculate thunder, lightning, or my speed based on chronograph time. So, you know, although maybe not the most practical, probably the more useful of features as far as the particular scale on this one. Now this is the Duobox silver chronometer. It's the DBCH100. It has a retail price of basically about $2,200 from Brellum watches. Of course, there are it's about 22, 23. There are that's what I'm looking for. Of course, you know, that's in Swiss francs, and you know, there are conversions that happen, and you know, depending on kind of the rate and how you pay, you can kind of get charged a little bit differently. But that's about the conversion, what you'd expect in the $2,200, $2,300 range for one of these pieces. Now it is 41.8 millimeters in diameter, so just a, you know, a touch underneath that 42 millimeter, which I think is a good size for a chronograph, especially because there's just more on the dial. Now, if this was just, you know, a three-hander, I think it would appear very large as far as visual weight, but I think because, you know, it does have those dials and just it has applied indices, it has the extra scales, all these fine little details, you know, it's something that really fills the dial well and helps the watch just have better visual proportions. Now also, speaking of proportions, the height is actually 16.2 millimeters high, and it's actually pretty surprising because for Valjoux, you know, 7750 based movements that are out there, that's actually not that thick. I mean, if considering how much of the thickness is actually attributed to the crystals, I mean, you could probably shave almost 4 millimeters, you know, off just based off the crystal thickness, probably about 3 millimeters. So then you think about that, and now that's looking more like a 13 millimeter thickness, right? And just as far as the case goes, and that mid case is really quite nice and quite thin and defined because of, you know, the polished details there. It really adds some nice separation, which helps you kind of accentuate the lines here. And oh man, the case finishing again is just fantastic. So The movement is the Brellum BR750-1. It's an automatic chronometer, so basically it is a, their own kind of tuned up version of a Valjoux 7750. It has a custom rotor, really beautiful finishing there, a top grade all the way around. Then of course to run. I'm sure you've been waiting for this the whole episode. Get it going. Really, of course, nice positive just feeling of purchase there on the pusher, and then to wind it, just beautiful winding. And I mentioned this, I think for me the best winding action of any watch that I've handled has been the 7750. I noticed that originally on my little Hamilton chrono, and this just kind of takes it up a notch and just is that much more buttery smooth. So as you can see, the top register there, once this comes all the way around, it's just going to give you a nice solid tick at that top subdial there. So let's go ahead and let that catch up, and you can see that nice little transition on camera. Bam, look at that, right on time. So really beautiful piece. I mean, that's just magic right there. I think as far as value for money goes, a chronograph complication is definitely one of the best ways to get your money's worth. I mean, there's moon phases and, jumping hours and all types of different complications that are out there. But I feel like there's just so much history in the chronograph. It's just so useful. It's a great feature, and it's just as useful to me as a dive time bezel. You can use it for so many different things, and it's nice, and it's also respectable. It's one of those things where I think even a non-watch aficionado can appreciate the look even of a chronograph, and they kind of understand what it is, even if they don't know much about it. They get it. And I think this piece, it just oozes quality. I was at South Coast Plaza in Southern California, in Orange County area. Today I was wearing this piece, into the Rolex, Omega, IWC. I was walking in all those boutiques, and it was one of those things that this really just, it holds its own. It commands, it has a great presence on the wrist, and you can tell its quality. Even if you're not big into watches, and especially if you're big into watches, you can tell that this piece, it just means business, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Form, function, the whole 9 yards, it's there. So let's go ahead and stop it, reset. Perfect. Just, just like you would imagine. So really beautiful. The screw down crown, take a close look at it there. Really nicely done. Great tactile feel to it. Everything it's nice and sharp, but not in an unfinished way. It's just really nice and precisely done, and a great touch point for your fingers when you're handling this piece. A little bit deeper into it, of course, it does have that beautiful display case back, and there is some deep stamping there, or could maybe even be etching, as far as some of the kind of specs of the piece. Let me try to get this here without hitting the lens there. So I mean, just gorgeous movement, really finely done. I mean, this just, to me, just hits so many bases. Now taking a closer look at the dial, it does have applied indices. It has that kind of nice silver sunray dial, has a slight dome to it. Just has a really cool date cut out there at 6. So I mean, that's normally something that that a lot of chronographs get wrong. They kind of stuff a date in there, they put it in a weird place, and it just doesn't look good. I feel like, you know, having the date at 6 is very nice, and then the touch of having it, you know, the reverse, having the negative, the black date disc with the white font, just another really great little touch, you know, that little touch of contrast. It just adds another little pop, a little bit of fun, a little playfulness, especially with the colors, the blue seconds hand there. Really, really beautifully done. There actually is lume on the watch, not too much, so I guess we can give it a little charge here. It's not really, you know, it's not meant to be some big lume monster, but definitely has lume. As you can see, it does shine nice and bright. This plays really well off of that dial. You can see it reflecting. So, you know, it's not a diver. It's not meant to be. It's not a pilot's watch or anything like that. It's really not meant to be. To me, it's just, it fits a really nice spot of kind of a dressier, sporty watch that's just extremely versatile. You know, you can wear this in a dressed down occasion or a dressed up occasion. So really, really cool, and that's kind of where it fits for me. It has 5 bar or 50 meter water resistance, which is, you know, pretty standard, I think, for most chronographs without screw down pushers or crowns. It does have 22 millimeter lugs, and I feel like that is because of the size of the watch. I think they made the right choice. I think there's often a lot of pressure to kind of make things look a little smaller, but I think it would have made the flow of the case maybe even feel a little bit more bulbous, but because it has a smoother transition with the wider lug width, I think that definitely helps. And it's really cool that the straps it comes with, or strap that it comes with, has the quick release on there. Really nice. And as you can see, it does have really nice back padding here, nice soft kind of you know, micro suede underneath, with the you know, the stamped details to make it look like crocodile on the leather there. Really, really cool, really versatile. Let me go ahead and get it on the wrist so we can close this review out here and then kind of get you guys ready for the full review on episode 2. But until then, you guys can see this on wrist. I have a 7 1/4 inch wrist, and of course up close, big wristy, it's gonna look big, but I think you put it down here now and you kind of get an idea. Open the hand up, and I mean, of course on this much of my arm it's gonna appear a little bit larger, but I assure you that you know, on a human body, watches are definitely going to start scaling down once you actually realize that we're more than just a talking wrist there. So I think it wears beautifully, as you can see here. Definitely hugs the wrist nicely. The way everything just comes down, these chamfers on this case are just so sharp. The transitions, the breaks, very, very cleanly done. Really beautiful. You know, the really nice balanced proportions. And you know, I guess I'll just leave it at that, guys, because I do have a full review coming. I'll get a little bit more glamour shots of this. Definitely, if you are interested in more, check out the links in the description. And also, you know, follow me on Instagram, because I have posted a couple of shots of this. And different lighting situations really make this silver dial pick up a lot of different tones. Underneath these studio lights, it has more of a cooler, you know, tone, closer to that kind of that real pale silver. But you can see, you know, in under other lighting situations, it has more of a pearl. You know, it can get a little bit creamier kind of depending on what kind of lights you're around. So of course these are very pure studio lights here, so it's coming out very nice, and that pale silver really just the light just really plays and dances off of it. So let's go ahead and close it there. Thanks a lot, guys. Let me know what you think about the Brellum Duobox. If you have any questions, definitely ask them, and hopefully I can address them in the next video for you. Alright guys, if you liked the video, please hit like. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks.